So thank you very much for joining this. So quick introductions. This is me. I'm Ksenija. I am a mom. This is a drawing by my lovely 4-year-old. If any of you are child psychologists, you might want to tell me why I'm sort of on the far right and my, rather than having a smile, have angry teeth. That's the representation. Yeah, this is our little family. I'm also a lecturer at Loughborough University London and a researcher. My interests are in service design and its role in social change, and particularly interested in how it can improve education. I'm also an immigrant. I've immigrated 3 times. When I was young, I went from one country, where I was born, actually doesn't really exist anymore, which is USSR, and then moved to Lithuania, America, and then now in the UK. And really, when I was thinking about this introduction, and when we talk about user research, it's really about sort of the multidimensionality of the individual that you need to consider as your and recognize as you move with your research. So what do we do in user research? As you can see here, you have kind of the first part of the diamond, and really you engage your users in 2 parts. So the first one is the discovery stage, where you're really trying to understand the individual. So start thinking now and maybe put things on the paper. Who might be the people that you might want to understand about, things you want to understand about, who might be users in your context. So it's really think about the experiences that these people have and their opinion and how they create meaning about their environment and about their context within which they live. It's not really about you. It's not about you confirming facts and assumptions that you actually have just made while you were doing the mirror boards, because you were assuming certain things need to happen or certain things need to develop and to improve, but maybe it's not the way that you think. So you will have to put those things aside and really think about the individual who's in front of you, who you are engaging with, and thinking about the context within which they live, and learning about their daily life and daily experiences. And it's really, really important, the experience. The second part, where you might be working with the user, is when you start to implement your service. Really, implementation also means development of that ideas. If in the first part, you're kind of just gathering as much information as possible about this individual, in the second part, in the implementation, it's really about testing. How does your things that you've developed, how do they align with the needs of those users? Is it creating a good experience for them? So we might not be in the service design jam, we might not have like a full prototype, or even, you might only get to the stage of generating an idea, a solution. But you can then test that idea with the users and not be afraid of, the user saying that's complete rubbish, that's not going to work. You can engage them in sort of scenario where you are testing that idea. If you have a product or if you have a service, a software, with time, you will have to redo this user research. It's not just a one-off. So as you go into it today, treat it as such. So it's something that takes place in time. There has been past experiences as well that people can draw on, but it's also about sort of the experiences of today. When you are bringing in, kind of thinking about the future, which we might do a little bit as well, it's really about thinking and engaging them in imagination and futurizing. With this could also enable them to kind of discover things about themselves. So you have the sort of the past, the present, and the future as at your service. Moving to the activity 1, I would like you to think about the user research as something that you are taking somebody on a journey of self-reflection and not a conversation. It's not about you sharing your ideas and feeding off of them. In a normal situation, if you're a researcher, if you've ever done research yourself, having a conversation is a really good way of engaging with the individual as you're recording them, putting your ears on and sitting back and listening to that individual's self-reflection. You're trying to gauge that individual's understanding of their own experiences as much as possible. I want you to think about 3 types of questions that you might be asking them. One of them is about description. You might be thinking about, how does that theme apply to that individual, to these users, and what kind of things they might be experiencing. Maybe you think about the particular context. So tell me what happened in this context in relation to the theme. You might be saying, how did it happen? This is bringing in the time back in, or when did it happen? The second one is about thinking about the feelings. So it's not really objective description anymore. It's really engaging with their feelings. Give them space to have a little bit of time to get honest with themselves about how they truly felt about the situation, and asking them not only how it made you feel, but also what did you think about that situation. Maybe that's another question that can get them to think, this is how I described it. What did I really feel and think about it? And the third one is around evaluation. You want that individual to then go again a little bit further and evaluate. So was that experience positive for them, or was it negative? Don't just think about negative experiences. So try to encourage the individual to also think about the positive experiences, and then explore those positive experiences and contexts within which this happened. Because by juxtaposing the positive and the negative, again, you're going to generate a little bit more insights. This quick sort of pyramid shows how with the interview, you basically generate different type of knowledge. So with the interviews, you're generating sort of explicit knowledge that people have in their minds. But as you move away from just a verbal conversation, you can start observing things that people might be doing differently to what they said that they were doing. So observing individuals in particular context can tell you also quite a bit. So this actually, the observation part, I think will be really useful for you when you're testing your solutions or ideas. So if you have created some sort of very easy prototypes, you can observe how people use those prototypes. Or, you can also be asking people to do something as part of the wider research and observe them how to do. So giving them instructions of doing something and observing them doing it. Or you might be observing them doing something in just the real world. So as you're generating anything, that allows you to engage, and you're seeing an individual generating something. You're engaging with their tacit knowledge, what they know, and what they know that they don't know that they know it, how they feel maybe as well, and other things. So by asking people to generate things, you're unlocking knowledge beyond what they have immediately in their mindset. So with that said, we can start thinking about what can we ask individuals to generate for us, to create for us, that then we can talk about with them. What can you ask an individual to do to generate something that will be useful? Maybe we'll try to explore further the things that they've already said. So some of the things you might be asking them is to show you the use of. So, how do you use, for example, how do you do a lesson plan? Or can you actually show it to me and maybe show me how you would create it? Don't think about the future. You don't want them to draw the future. You want them to draw their experiences, their past or present experiences.